Rocket City Marathon runners, this is Corey, your first time marathoner checking in. My first video of the video series to let you know what I'm doing to work towards completing the Rocket City Marathon in December. We're coming up on June 1st, which is the, 6-month mark out from the race. So we've got plenty of time to get there, but I wanted to use this first video to kind of share with you what the next 6 months will look like in my video series, what you can expect, and what I'm hoping to get out of it as well. So over the next 6 months, my plan is to kind of share my journey. I want to share with you my runs, my training goals, my strategy, what I'm eating, what I'm using to fuel my long runs, all that kind of stuff. It's a very broad scope, but I guess I just want to start off today with kind of what my training is going to look like over the next 6 months. I recommend, if you're like me and this is your first time running a marathon, find a training plan, something you can stick to. In my opinion, it's really just a baseline, something you can come back to if you get off track, if you need some encouragement, if you go out of town or you get sick and you're out for a couple days. It's what you can come back to say, here's where I'm going to pick up, here's what's next. But also for me, it's encouragement to know that I have a plan on reaching my goal. 26 miles isn't an easy thing, and so you got to have something to push you and drive you and kind of create that goal. So find a training plan. I'm using one that's kind of loosely based around Hal Higdon's training program. It's what I used for my first half marathon several years ago. So find something like that. A lot of them are 16 to 20 weeks long, so if you're starting now, you've got plenty of time to get to that. You're at the 6-month mark out, so you got plenty of time. Find something that works for you. Maybe you need to find a local running club, where you get together with people, help keep you accountable. I'm kind of a solo runner. I like to be by myself. It's my time to kind of zen out and think about work and think about stuff going on. So I enjoy that solitude. But if you need people, find a group that you can get with. There's a lot in Huntsville, and maybe if you're from out of town, find something in your area too. So my training program kind of bases on this. You have 7 days a week. Your first day is some kind of cross training, some strength training, something that's not impactful on your knees to try and save them for your running. And then you have 3 days in a row of 3 to 4 mile runs, kind of basic, easy paces, and then another day of cross training, and then a long run that typically starts at 5 miles and kind of works up as the weeks go on. To your ultimate goal of 20 to 22 miles before you kind of taper back down the few weeks before your marathon. And then you have a day of rest, and then you kind of repeat that cycle. Again, I don't work a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday, so my schedule is a little bit hectic, and so that's why I called it a baseline. It's something I'm going to come back to as I have time in my schedule each week to fit those runs in and those training times in. So try and do the same thing. If you have a weird schedule, it's okay. We're not elite athletes. We're not trying to win the New York City Marathon. We're just trying to complete a marathon for the first time. So give yourself some grace and be encouraged. Don't feel stressed out if you miss something or if you can't fit it into your schedule. On top of that, I have a few basic things I want to share. If you're a first-time marathoner like me, or maybe even it's your first time really kind of doing a long distance run like that, some things that really helped me in my half marathon training that I'm going to apply to this are real simple things, nothing complicated. First and foremost, I like to say get a good pair of shoes, good workout clothes, whatever is going to make you comfortable. I found that if you're not comfortable when you're running, you're not going to enjoy it, and it's going to be even harder to get out there and be motivated. So find whatever's comfortable for you. A good pair of shoes, though, is incredibly important. When I first started running, I knew nothing about that, and I ended up with a stress fracture, and it was miserable. So go to a place like Fleet Feet, get fitted for a pair of shoes, find out what kind of shoes you need, because there's a lot more than just running shoes. There's neutral shoes, support shoes, all that kind of stuff. It's a whole complicated world if you ask me, but it's very important and it's worth the investment, especially if you're going to be putting in miles and miles and miles to get to a marathon. So find some good shoes, and then, like I said, comfortable clothes, something that's going to keep you comfortable. I don't like to take a lot with me. I have a hat, my watch, and that's it. I don't really carry my phone, my keys, nothing. I like to have as little as possible. So find what works for you. You've got plenty of time, so take a few laps, figure out what works and what doesn't. And then the other thing that really helped me is having just a basic 3-mile route. Something that's easily modifiable if you want to add on some miles, take off some miles. In my neighborhood, I have found a 3-mile loop that's pretty simple, pretty flat, nothing complicated. It's that baseline run. If I'm doing it 3 days a week, it's easy. It's something that I'm not dreading doing because I know that it's a simple run. It's not complicated. So find something like that for you. Maybe it's on the greenway, it's in your neighborhood, it's at the gym on the treadmill. If you know there's somewhere that's going to get you 3 miles a day, do it. But like I said, I like to have something that's modifiable too. When I can do that 3-mile run, and then on my long run I just take a right turn instead of a left turn and add on another mile. That works for me too. I like to be outside. I like that change of scenery, so hopefully that's what you do too. And then also have some kind of accountability. Maybe it's like me, this video series. This is really helping me stay accountable and motivated. It gives me something to work towards, something to share. So maybe it's getting on Facebook, joining a running group on social media, sharing on Instagram, whatever it is, talking to your wife, husband, kids. Find some way to keep yourself accountable. It motivates you. You don't want to disappoint somebody by saying, yeah, I'm running a marathon, and then you never do it, and they ask you, hey, what happened? And you're like, well, so find someone that's going to keep you there, or something that's going to keep you going. And then last thing I want to share in this first video is I want this to be a conversation. These next 6 months, I'm new to the marathon. I'm new to this long distance. If you are too, that's great. Share with me what works, what questions you have. Let us help each other reach that 26-mile goal. And if you've run marathons before, if I say something that you say, is great or terrible, share it. Help me. Help us. We all have the ultimate goal of finishing this. Again, we're not elite athletes. We're just out for a good time, hoping to accomplish something, check off a bucket list, whatever it is. So check in, follow this, subscribe to this. If you'd like to see more, I have an Instagram account. It's personal, but I share all my run stuff on there too. It's at @cbellamy. Find me on there, follow, again, comment, share. Let's all work together to try and get to that marathon goal. Have a nice day.